What are the historical roots of election campaign phases? Imagine a time when political contests were more about personal influence than organized campaigns. That's where the roots of election campaign phases begin. In the late 1700s, the first United States presidential elections were quite informal. Candidates didn't actively campaign for themselves. Instead, supporters used newspapers, pamphlets, and personal letters to promote candidates. Back then, there were no clear stages or phases like today. Voters had limited engagement, and political parties were just starting to form. By the late 1700s and early 1800s, political parties like the Federalists and Democratic Republicans started holding meetings to choose candidates. But even then, candidates stayed somewhat distant from voters. Supporters influenced elections through media and personal networks. This period introduced the idea of party conventions and nominations, which later became formal parts of the election process. As the 19th and 20th centuries rolled in, the structure of election campaign phases became clearer. Primaries and caucuses emerged as a way for party members to pick nominees more openly. These contests allowed voters to have a say in who would run for office. National conventions then became big events where parties officially nominated their candidates, helping unify supporters. The general election phase grew into a lively period of campaigning. Candidates started holding rallies, debates, and running advertisements. They also began fundraising on a larger scale to support their campaigns. This evolution from informal support to organized, multi-stage campaigns shaped the modern election cycle. Understanding these roots helps explain why campaigns are divided into phases today. The pre-campaign stage involves candidates building teams and testing support quietly. The primary and caucus phase is where candidates compete for their party's nomination through state contests. The national convention is when parties officially pick their candidates, often leading to a surge in fundraising and media attention. The final general election phase is when candidates campaign nationwide, focusing on voter outreach, debates, and large-scale fundraising efforts. Each phase demands different strategies for raising funds. Early on, campaigns focus on small donations and building networks. Later, they need bigger funds for advertising and ground operations. Recognizing this history shows how the election cycle has grown from informal beginnings into a carefully planned process. It's a story of how political organization, communication, and electoral practices have evolved over centuries to create the structured phases we see today.